I forgot about the clap too, and then it started to burn.
Oh, my Rodney Dangerfield necktie is getting very tight, and I must adjust it, for I get no respect. Dan, you don't have to have superpowers to be a superhero.
Wow, that's wiggity wiggity whack, J-Dog, jiggity jow.
I am J-Dog, huh? Oh, God,
you're not just a J-Dog, you are the poopa scoopa super scoopa poopa J-Dog.
Which, I'm gonna knock you down in mud. How about that?
I love mud.
This movie has a weird fetish with mud. Okay. Hello. Welcome to the Old Boys podcast. AKA Torture Chamber. Dan Edition.
Dan Edition. Oh, man. This is going to be guys, buckle in because... we haven't said buckle in a while.
That's right.
It's normally you that says it, but I know that you're going to need to strap in for this one.
Mm-hmm. Buckle in, muchachos. I want you to loosen up. Then I want you to wind up. And then buckle in. And I want you to fucking explode out with your rage. That's what
because why would we do that?
Because we watched a film called Super Buddies.
By the way, this is the Old Boys podcast, and we watch movies and we talk about them. But we watched My Assignment, which was a Disney production called Super Buddies.
From the Air Buddies franchise. They have done, 1 billion million movies.
Including the original Air Bud franchise.
Yeah, sometimes they do 2 in 1 year, 2 or 3 in 1 year. So they just keep going.
Crazy. They haven't done it in 5 years because this was the last one that was released.
Really?
Yeah. That I saw on Netflix, at least.
Okay. And Dan decided to assign this because he hates me. Usually we don't assign just straight up kids movies at each other. I don't think, right?
We haven't done it in a while.
Have we done that?
We did that one other Disney movie with Danielle Schneider, Wish Upon a Star.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But I don't know. It's fun. It's fun to kind of dick around. Dan, please explain this movie. Now, I don't want you to leave any fucking detail out because this film is very hard to follow, and I know there's a lot of stuff going on. This is a complicated film.
Okay, first of all, to that effect, before I say anything, I'm like, how the fuck are they going to fill up an hour and a half?
They did it.
Of superhero puppies. There's no fucking way. I'll tell you how. Flashbacks and a completely different storyline.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
that's how you do it. Don't show
this
actual
film is called Super Buddies, and it's basically about these 5 dogs, 5 puppies, 5 buddies. Mm-hmm. That are owned by 5 other buddies that are human, and they all somehow eerily match their owner's personnel.
Yes, and they all live really close together.
Yeah, so they're all
best friends,
and they're all having like gangbang satanic rituals at night with their parents. Anyway,
Jesus,
it's a Disney movie. Shh, we know what goes on behind closed doors. Anyway, these dogs. Well, first of all, it's this kid, the main character, the titular.
Oh my God,
Bartleby.
Bartleby
Livingston. His birthday is today, and boy, is his day just the best thing in the world. Like everything good happens to him. Anyway, he gets this comic book that basically says there was an alien that. I can't
back up.
I can't
30,000 years ago.
hold on a
Cro-Magnons
second.
coming out of the,
hold on
the
a
ocean.
second. I can't describe this plot without wanting to bitch about so much. So all I'm gonna do is say puppies get superpowers, they're connected to an alien race somehow, and then all the aliens that are looking for these rings come and try to destroy the Earth or save the Earth, one of the two, and the puppies help.
That's all I wanted you to say.
That's cool, but there's just so much. Okay, first of all, Jared.
I know there's so
first
much
of all,
plot.
okay. No. There's just a lot wrong with it. My very first note, we're going to tackle it. Tackle it right out of the gate. Right. These rings, first and foremost, not the real rings. They're fake rings. Fake rings that are made by this dog food company.
The Rings of Inspirion?
The Rings of Inspirion, and it's like toys in the bottom of a but toys in the toys in the bottom of a cereal box, basically.
Yes.
These rings
Puppy
are.
Chow, Rings of Inspirion.
No. This comes, instead of a cereal box, it comes out of a dog food bag. Now tell me, Jared.
Yes.
When was the last time that you saw a dog food company and a comic book company meld together for ad campaigns?
It's insane.
It's fucking bonkers.
I thought the kid was going to pour a bowl of dog food for himself and eat it. Well, that's what I wanted him to do.
I agree with that. But also in that same scene, Bartleby Livingston, he just comes down and he has Grandpa Livingston, by the way. He lives with his farmer-ass grandpa.
Killing it.
Oh.
Who plays the grandpa?
Tim Timerson.
Tim Timerson is fucking good in this movie.
I don't know what his name is. Tim somebody.
John Ratzenberger.
That's not Tim at all.
Marvin Gramps Livingston.
Tim Conway. Tim Conway is the one that plays the Bloodhound towards the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, here's what I don't understand. He comes down, he's having the best birthday of his life because Grandpa gives him everything. And he picks up this dog bag, this gigantic 35-pound dog food
Brought
bag,
to you by Puppy Chow.
right?
Puppy Chow.
And he just rips it off, rips the top off like that's, something that can happen. Have you ever tried to rip reinforced dog food bag, Jared? It doesn't fucking come off. You have to cut it with a knife or something. But he's just
you gotta pull pretty hard. I mean, you don't like.
But do you think Bartleby Livingston? Oh my God! I don't know. I'm so upset because there's so much I want to talk about, and I'm trying to front load it all, and I need help. Help me, guide me, sir, guide me.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say you remember first impressions.
Oh,
I was gonna let you finish this sea of just streaming thoughts, and then I was like, okay, we're gonna jump into the first impressions, and I'm like, oh, maybe it's never gonna happen. So
I forgot.
You know what, Dan?
What are your first impressions, Jared? I'm curious.
This movie,
yes,
isn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. To be honest with you,
it's a Disney movie. To be fair, they know how to make things entertaining for sure.
Anytime there were regular actors on screen, the movie was tolerable.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime they had the Super Buddies on the TV, it was pretty fucking bad.
Yeah,
it's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad because you're not a fucking 5-year-old.
Yeah. I mean, this is a kids movie, but I liked Sheriff Dan. Sheriff Dan is pretty great as like the pseudo villain and a good guy. I liked the grandpa character. He was pretty funny. There was actually some pretty funny stuff in this movie.
Oh my God, Jared, that's my first impression. I would not watch this movie again, but there's this one scene where I had to pause the movie because I was laughing too hard, and it was supposed to be funny, but I thought it was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, this movie is better than some Sharknado. It's better than some of these terrible movies like Mega Piranha or the Desert Shark movie or whatever.
Hey,
it's
Jared,
better than those low budget films.
Here we go. Would you rather watch the Sharknado franchise or the Air Buddies franchise back to back?
I think maybe Air Buddies.
I would rather watch the Air Buddies for sure. Because at least
They're
they
just
know what their
better
fucking
movies.
game is. Yeah, and they know what their fucking game is, and it's not shitty. It's like,
And they're
we're going to make
better
insane
acted.
things because kids love insane things. Not, we're going to make insane things because adults like insane things to be rehashed over and over and over again. I don't know. Actually, maybe Air Buddies and Sharknado are the same movie because
in
that's
the
all
same
it really
universe.
is.
It's in the
It's
same
just
universe.
like, let's just make it all fucking ridiculous because people, that's what they want.
And, well, okay, this movie's ridiculous, but also kind of makes sense within the plot.
Yeah.
It's a really stupid... So I think this movie is a decent kids movie.
Yeah.
It's not. I really thought it was going to be a huge pile of trash. So, yeah, very surprised. I thought all of the young actors... Bartleby was kind of weak. He was doing his best.
Well, I mean, his name is Bartleby, and he was the token fat kid,
Yeah, but it was cool that he was like the main character, because like all the other kids were like skinny and handsome young boys and lady, and you're like, okay, I can see why they're in the film because movies want the kids to look good, and then you got this Bartleby character. You're like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like that's cool that he's the main character. He's a good looking young man. Why name him Bartleby? I think the only reason is because they wanted him to be like a doof. But his character doesn't come off as a doof.
He doesn't come off as a doof, especially because he's like the genius behind everything.
Yeah, he's saving the day constantly through comic books. It's so funny. Like, everything he does is like, I always have my comic books with me, and they can always solve every situation we're in.
I feel like I have a note about that somewhere.
Movie. Oh, Jesus Christ. So I thought it was going to be funny if I started a video journal or whatever. Not like a video journal, but a like timestamps on like the film. And because I thought I was going to descend into madness. I really didn't that much. Because like I said, this movie is not the worst thing I've ever seen.
It's Disney magic.
But the first thing I did right is at 3 seconds in, I wrote, upset with Dan. Why did he make me watch this? Thinking of ways to hurt him. But as time went on, my heart did soften. So I will say that.
Okay, so let's dissect the character of Sheriff Dan. Let's make little tangible pockets here, so it's more sophisticated.
Dan,
our
if there's anything
not all
I
over
love,
the place.
It's tangible pockets. I love them. They're like hot pockets that I can touch at any time.
Well, you can touch hot pockets.
What? All right, go ahead.
Okay, so first and foremost, we're going to break down the character of Sheriff Dan because he seems to be the thing that we have gravitated towards as like a funny part of the movie, or like a thing that we like.
I'm going to write my master's thesis on Sheriff Dan.
Seriously. So basically, that cliche. What's that word? Not stereotype. Trope. The movie trope of like the dumbass sheriff.
Yeah.
Who's like doofy and he doesn't do anything right.
Yeah.
This film took that trope to a completely new level that I didn't even know existed.
Nuke exist?
Nuke exists. Jesus.
How so? Daniel.
He's fucking insane and really dumb. Like, okay. Stop me whenever you think that it needs to be stopped. But he always shows up late to everything. He's the only sheriff in town.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love how he's the only sheriff.
He's at the butt of every joke whenever it comes to these super buddies. But now here's where it gets crazy. He's super full of himself, even though he sucks balls.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like one scene in the movie, there's like a big car accident, and he gets out of his car and then prances on top of the cars in the car accident and like does the superhero pose.
Love that.
And then hog ties a pig after his photo op.
It's like he declared missions complete in Iraq or something. Like that's how fucking. We did it, guys. We did it. We've defeated terrorism.
He's so doofy, but at the same time so
lovable,
and just
I think
I don't know how to
because
describe him.
The kids love him, the town likes him, even though he's the biggest goof doof
and terrible at his job.
He's not good at his job, but I was rooting for him so much. Like, I wanted the movie to be about Sheriff Dan. I'm like, why isn't the film about Sheriff Dan going around trying to arrest aliens that are possessing dogs? That's what I wanted. Alas, I did not get that. Alas, we are stuck with the Super Buddies. So the Super Buddies.
Yes. Oh, do you want me to call them by name?
Yeah, let's go
because they are all
fucking names.
puns of the Bud nickname for the original dog.
Yeah.
First, you have Butterball, but spelled
the main character,
but spelled Butterball, and he
Give
eats a lot.
Give us their powers too. That's very important.
He eats
to the
a
plot.
lot as a regular person. I mean, a regular dog, and then he has super strength whenever he puts on the ring.
Yes.
Next, we have Mud Bud, and he likes to roll around in the mud at the aforementioned mud fetish of the film.
He is
a mud fetishist.
He's like the hippie, right? Is he the Matthew McConaughey of the group?
Is he? No, he's not. Is he? Anyway, he gets to be invisible.
Is he?
He gets to be invisible. Then you have Rosebud,
who
is the girl of the group.
Girl power. I
Girl
started
power
the girl power
is a
counter,
state of
and
mind,
it was said
Jared.
at least 4 times.
Girl power is a state of mind. I learned that from this
God damn this movie and girl power.
Here, audience and Jared, remind me that we are going to come back to fucking girl power and how that hurts this movie and feminism
girls?
Everywhere.
Yeah. It was painful. There are certain things like this and stereotypes that they put in the film that completely undermined a lot of good stuff in the movie. Like some of the ways people were dealing with loss and heartbreak and that classic Disney shit of like, my parents are dead, you're my new dad,
Next,
I'm going to keep persevering despite all this hardship in my life. Yes. Of me just living on a farm with my grandpa. Like, some shit happened there, Yeah. But we're still going through.
Finally, we have the Matthew McConaughey character that I believe that you were talking about is Buddha. Get it? Because Bud is in Buddha. And by the way,
he's basically Doctor Strange.
Rosebud has super speed. B-Dog can stretch. And then, yes, you have Doctor Strange Dog, a.k.a. Buddha.
Yeah, I said say their fucking powers. God.
I'm sorry. Sailor powers, like Sailor Moon?
Yes. Obviously. Oh, man. So those are stupid dogs, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and we got, what's the Superman dog?
Oh. Fuck, what was his name?
I forget. It
was Captain Courageous and Doggerson.
Yeah.
Fuck,
Captain
what is
Galactus
his name?
and the other one. So, we open up with Barnaby living his life, right? And it's his birthday. Wow, wowie zowie. And his grandpa's there, and he's like, "Hey, Bartleby, even though you're a big doof, you're the greatest, and it's your birthday, and I really want you to have a great birthday." And he's like, "Wow, gee, thanks, Grandpa. Who knows what happened to my parents? They're probably dead." I'm gonna open up this really great puppy chow brought to you by Puppy Chow. And you're like, oh man, I gotta get some puppy chow. And then after you pause the film and go get puppy chow and just eat it yourself because it's so great, you come back to the film and you find he got, oh wow, the last ring of Inspirion. Cool. And these rings, Dan.
Okay.
What do they look like to you?
They look like, those pool toys that you throw in and they sink to the bottom?
Yeah. Those circular little pool rings that like Sonic would collect.
Yeah. But here's the deal. This kid has been collecting. Okay, I have issues with perfect days because they don't fucking exist. Like, it's so fabricated, it's upsetting. So the very first thing that happens whenever he wakes up, he comes down and Grandpa's like making him fucking pancakes. He's like, well, happy birthday, Bartleby. It's like, oh, look who it is. It's the birthday boy. He's like, okay, yeah, happy fucking day. Like, great, good fucking morning.
Happy and then, everything is.
Yes, and then he opens the fucking...
funny.
He opens the fucking dog food with no problem. He's like, let's pray for luck because we need that last thing. It's my birthday. And he pours all the fucking food out and he gets the one ring that he needed. By the way, he has all of the individual rings. He doesn't have a back stock of all the other shitty rings that he doesn't need because that's what happens. Yeah. How many times do you fucking play the McDonald's Monopoly game and you get
10
like
fucking
50
green
things
ones.
of the like purple? It doesn't matter.
Dan,
it's just, it was too perfect. I'm sorry.
It does matter because this is a special day, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, it felt like a dream, didn't it? It felt unreal.
Yeah, it felt like a dream.
But then, in this kid's movie, it's just everyday life for this little fucker.
Then later on...
They don't even have bullies they deal with. How can a movie like this not have, like, bullies that the kids deal with? It's kind of weird.
Here's my biggest concern.
Interesting. All right.
Jared, if a dog jumped out of a cake, wouldn't everybody be pissed at that dog?
Yeah. Yeah, so Grandpa has this giant cake, and the dog explodes out of it somehow. I don't know how the dog got in there, because the dog was out of the cake before, and then the cake got wheeled out. He was, like, looking at the cake. It was very bizarre.
Let's compare this to another Disney movie, Homeward Bound. There's a scene where Michael J. Fox's character, Chance, is eating cake, and is scolded and thrown into an empty room so he doesn't do that again. That's life. That's what normal life happens.
Yes, I agree. And if Michael J. Fox was in a giant cake, you would know it.
Why? Why is that?
I just feel like, he's got like an energy to him that like really radiates. It's like a vibration. I don't know. I just feel like a lot, his chi energy is just... Anyways.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
so, and then all of his friends come over and they're all dressed as superheroes. And they're like, happy birthday. And then we get Super Gramps. Grandpa dresses up as a superhero and he zip lines. Oh, and the sheriff is there. I don't know why. The sheriff comes to celebrate his birthday, which is adorable and weird.
And then the sheriff gives him the costume gift.
Yeah. I don't know. It's so bizarre. But the whole thing with Super Grandpa was fucking funny. And then later on, we basically find out Super Gramps can control the elements. And that was pretty fucking OP. I was like, damn, dude. Ratzenberger. Holy shit. He's a conduit of Thor. It's ridiculous. So like all the kids are there, they're having fun, and they're like, hey, we're going to go on a scavenger hunt. And this is where you really get to meet all of the different buddy characters and not focus on the kids because they're not important. And I thought the kids should have been a little more important. Like, they're kind of there. It's more about Bartleby and the Super Buddies and not about Bartleby and his friends.
Well, this film is called Super Buddies, not Bartleby and the regular kids.
I know. It's just, I really disliked whenever the Super Buddies were on screen. So let me
to give you, if you guys did not watch this movie, which I mean, I get it. I get why you wouldn't want to watch it. The reason why Jared says that he doesn't like it when they're on screen is they talk, of course, and it's like a cheaply done CGI effect mounted onto the muzzle of a real dog, and it looks kind of awkward and strange.
Not that distracting. Like, it actually didn't take me out of the film.
Really?
If I could even be in the film.
What took you out of the film? Why didn't you like those scenes?
Their lines, well, like what they were saying was bothering. Like, I was totally ready to buy that these dogs could talk, but the things that
this
they would say
tailored for 4-year-olds. Like,
were so cringeworthy. I just feel like you could write better stuff for 4-year-olds.
But yeah, you could. But
because,
you know
like
what
I
happened?
said, the stereotyping, like we were making fun of earlier. There's so much. I get you're trying to make these characters like different from each other.
You probably had a group of writers who like invited their children's friends over one night and said, "Hey, I'm writing this cool new movie for Disney and it's about dogs. What do you think they should say?"
Apparently it's only 2 writers, and one of the writers was the director. So I don't know. But so you got Butterball. He's fucking around with a bull, which was a whatever scene. I mean, it was like, okay, it was fine. Then you got B-Dog, who actually has it's okay, where he's like messing around in a chicken coop.
Oh, you mean the white people act like black people coop?
Yeah, you're right. So you have B-Dog, who's already kind of acting that way, going to a chicken coop, where
and all the chickens start yelling at him like they're like big black ladies, and you can tell that it's a forced affective voice.
What's more bizarre is the Princess Rosebud thing that I think you wanted to get into, Dan, where she is talking with the 2 ponies, who really are just there to have this girl power scene.
Well, no, because the girl power scene, the issue with the girl power as a state of mind runs much deeper than just that scene. It runs through that character and all of her dialogue, because all of her dialogue,
she has no personality besides
except for
girl
women
power.
Are great and women are going to rule the world one day, and blah, but like what that is saying is that is what the director thinks, and he's trying to purport this big feminist message to the entire demographic, like all the little girls who are going to be watching this is like, yeah, girl power. But the actual dialogue is so contrived and superficial and not meaning anything really, because that's how he has her deliver the lines. It's like, yeah, girl power, we just have to throw it in there. But as the story becomes more complex and she is given more, opportunity to say things like girls won't just rule the world, they'll rule the galaxy. It's like that undermined everything.
Well,
because it made it a joke instead of okay, go on.
No, I agree. So there's a very funny comedian who I like a lot that my girlfriend introduced me to, Nicole Byer. And she has her own podcast, Why Won't You Date Me, which is really fucking good. I think you and your wife would probably enjoy it.
Okay.
And she does what is it? Nailed It on TV. It's that baking show where people. Oh my god, that show is so good.
That's on Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix. Yeah. And on her latest episode of her podcast, she talks about how she wanted to do, when she first started doing stand up. Hopefully I'm getting this close to right. Fat jokes, because she is overweight, and she wanted to do fat jokes about herself, showing that like I'm okay with how I look, and it's like almost like empowerment. She's trying to take it back, but she said for a while the jokes didn't work because people felt bad for her, because they were like, "Oh, you're overweight and you realize it, so and we feel bad for you, I guess." So people weren't getting the joke that she was just making fun of herself, and it was like she realizes she's fat. You know what I mean? So then she would say people would come up to her and be like, "Oh, Nicole, you're beautiful." Like even though you're over, like they wouldn't say even though you're overweight, but what they're implying is like, "Well, I think you're beautiful." Like she's not beautiful, and she knows that. And I feel like that's the same thing with this girl power bullshit they try to do in this movie, where they're like, girls are really cool and they're number one, and we're gonna rule the world, and one day we're gonna be as great as guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but and it
like we're not very good at anything right now, but
exactly,
eventually
it's like a feedback loop where it's like I have these aspirations that one day girls will do it, but
not right now. But
it's
eventually,
a guy writing it. It's like let me think.
It's the same thing as saying, "Hey, you're super fat, but I still think you're beautiful." You know what I mean? Like, you can still be beautiful, maybe.
Here's another thing.
If you
this
try
was
hard
made in
enough.
2013, and now, like, we are in this era of, like, people think feminism needs to go away because they don't know what feminism is, and if you think feminism needs to go away, you're a fucking idiot because you are taking the wrong type of feminist too seriously.
That's right.
Basically, there's two schools of feminists. You have the actual school of feminists and the one that just bitches a lot, and they're on the far left, and they're fucking insane, and you shouldn't listen to them.
So, extremists.
Exactly. So, extremists. So, I am a feminist, and the issue I have with this is kind of like, right? The
You're
same
a feminist?
thing. You have first wave feminism, you have second wave feminism, and you have third wave feminism. And third wave feminism kind of takes its hold around the 90s, and that's where you get queer theory, and it's like okay to be trans, and gender is performance. Like, this is 90s, this is happening. Right? And now everybody took those theories and just ran with them and were extreme. Now, the issue with third wave feminists is they did not like to use the lexicon of feminism because it was made by men. It's like they wanted to critique their own process because they have to use the language that is made by men for them. And that's kind of the issue that I take with this fucking movie and her dialogue. It's like, she can't be a feminist because of what she's saying, even though it's a
condescending.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. It was so sincere, but the more it was sincere, the more I'm like, this fucking sucks. I hate this so much.
And she's in this stupid princess
and it's marketed
costume.
at fucking children.
Yeah, I know.
You're making it worse, man.
So they're making a mockery out of rap culture.
This is breeding the extremists that we all fucking hate. Like,
yeah,
that's
they're
what
making
this
a
is.
mockery out of feminism, basically.
Oh my fucking God. Did they even mean to? I don't know, but that's what they did.
Yeah, they make people who like meditation weird, which actually they kind of did that okay-ish. It was still weird, but like, did you expect to see meditation in this movie at all?
No.
What the heck?
It reminded me of that one. What was that movie with Dolph Lundgren that we watched?
Kindergarten Cop 2? Yeah, god damn it. That movie. Ugh. I'd rather watch this movie than that one.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Kindergarten Cop 2.
God, I feel I stumbled all over my argument about why this was not feminist.
I mean, you're going to have to show me your penis later, so I know you're still a manly man and not some damn feminist, if you know what I mean. Oh, god damn it. We're going to go drink some beer later. Yell at a truck.
Yell at a truck.
Yeah, that's what men do. Doy. Gosh, Dan, please. So yeah, there's some things that I was like, oh, this is really cool. Because like, okay, query. Yeah. I liked that the superhero, the Superman type character, how his dad was a police officer that got killed. Okay. And that he uses that almost as like my dad has died, but I've learned from all these different teachings of my dad. And, I now have my new friend, and he's like kind of helping me cope with that. And it helps little kids. So like, if you were a little kid and let's say, I don't know, your dad got killed in the line of duty, you would relate to this pretty heavily.
Yeah, but then it's only 5 minutes of screen time to relate to?
It's still something. I get
it. It's something, but at the same time, it's lazy writing because all the things that they could have done that were cool writing, like that storyline,
they could have built more on that.
Exactly,
but
instead they were so focused on these air buddies.
Because if they cut out the air buddies and kept just that guy's story of the dog alien and the little kid, who I thought was a better actor, by the way, I was like, I want to watch their story because it was so much more entertaining than the main story of the plot. Because like this kid basically grows up, he has alien adventures with his buddy because they're trying to find the rings or whatever, which they kind of give up on and just start like fighting crime. But they become best friends, and he becomes almost like his dad's surrogate, which he even says at the very end of the film. And I'm going to forgive this movie for just saying things that are very obvious over and over and over again because it is a kid's film. There's so many times where they're like, rubber can't conduct electricity. You have to remember that for this scene to make sense. And I'm like, okay, all right, it's for kids.
It teaches kids at the same time as entertaining them. I completely forgave that immediately.
Edutainment,
that didn't bother me.
Yeah, it was all right.
There are other things that bothered me. Which one do you want to know first? Actually,
Well,
no.
I'll have to have a list of what it is before I can tell you.
Hold on. Okay, there's two things that bother me, and then I want to talk about my favorite fucking scene in the movie.
Uh-huh.
My favorite fucking scene in the movie is very, very early in the movie.
Sure.
So let's talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever the alien first takes over the dog, and then he comes across the boy riding the bike, he had fallen down.
Oh, yeah.
And then they have this conversation. He's like, "You're a dog and you're talking." He's like, "Yes. Actually, I am an alien and I just took over this dog." And then the kid leads him back to his house. And this is where my favorite scene happens. Because it's played for laughs, but I don't know why I found it so funny. Like, it was grade A comedy sketch funny. Like, oh my God.
So dumb.
So he's like, "Whenever you're around my mom, you can't talk because dogs don't talk. So you're going to have to woof like a dog. Say that. Woof, woof." And then he's like, "Woof?" And he's like, "Okay." And then they go to the kid's mom, and then she's like, "Oh, what happened?" And he had fallen, so she's caring for him. And then the dog looks at her and goes, "Woof, woof." And then she looks at him
A long pause.
a long time and says, "Where did you get this dog?"
Yeah. It was fucking funny. There's some genuinely funny things in this movie.
I had to pause the movie because I was laughing so hard. I didn't think I was going to laugh that hard.
Yeah.
It was just the timing and the delivery of that. Because like there's so many intricacies in it. It's like, was she saying, "Oh, fucking cool dog. Good thing that we have it now," or was she saying...
I think she was confused. Like, what is going on? So, okay. The little kid in this movie, Bartleby, he explains to his friends that there's a space war going on for these rings. There's the blue aliens who are good and the green aliens who are bad. And they're fighting. And in order to stop this mothership that has attacked the blue aliens, he crashes into, a la Star Wars, into like the Star Destroyer and somehow fires a missile that has the rings on it onto Earth, and then somehow gets on an escape pod and goes to Earth as well.
Yeah.
Without the villain knowing. So he escapes, goes to Earth to try to retrieve them again, finds the first human he can meet, which is a dog, because he thinks they're humans, and then transports his body into, like copies him, basically, as the dog. But he's like, "I can only transform back once I get the rings." And you're like, okay, I guess that makes sense. But then later on, the green alien can just turn into whoever he wants by body swapping.
Race. Yeah.
Yeah, he is a different race, I guess. And for the longest time, I guess the green alien just gave up on trying to find the rings. I don't know why. I guess he thought maybe they were destroyed. What did you think of that little monkey he had with him? I kind of liked him.
I don't know.
He had
how
a
I
little
feel
monkey
about him.
alien.
Yeah. Also, the amount of, I don't want to say it's animal cruelty, but the amount of
Animal handling
that had to be in this, and like all of them are dressed up, even the monkey. I don't know. It felt really uncomfortable.
I don't know. I don't know why I wasn't bothered by that.
Well, what bothered me about it was you don't see the displeasure on the animals' faces because they're covered up by CGI.
Yeah,
and
they're
smiles.
CG to be happy all the time. That's right. They're so happy to be there, Dan. Didn't you see how they're smiling faces? The little boy describes that the rings crash landed on a farm through a roof into the farmhouse, right?
Yes.
This, as we have come to find out, is actually what happened, and it actually happened to the farmstead that Bartleby and his grandfather live at. Correct? Okay. But we cut back to the real world, and it shows the farmhouse and everything, and the roof is patched. That means the farmer patched that fucking roof, but never went into the farmhouse to see the glowing objects that were inside. Like the weird treasure there, like... Was no one ever gone to the farmhouse?
He's not a dog.
You're right. So the dogs go in there and they find the rings. Of course, they immediately put them on. That's how they get their powers.
So they all use their powers individually. And basically, at the very end of the movie, they need to learn how to use their powers in unison. Yes. But the first time that they all use their powers, not in unison, but like individually to stop the same crime is whenever the candy store, the town candy store, is being robbed.
And what I love is the thieves are only stealing candy.
Yes.
And I love the German stereotype of, like, German people are evil. Do you remember Nazis, children? Germans.
See, I didn't have a problem with that.
I thought it was like, oh, thanks, movie.
I didn't have a problem with that at all.
Another bad stereotype we need to throw into the
Here's
film.
what I had a problem with.
Okay.
When was the last time you were in a candy store that just had an open container of caramel?
Every single one? Yeah, how do you dip your head into it? Like you're bobbing for apples, but there's no apples, only caramel.
Oh, dude, I would love to bob for apples and caramel. Seriously, though.
Yeah, that was
like
silly.
it was just.
I mean, the whole thing went on for too long. It was so dumb.
Oh, it was dumb.
But I loved when Sheriff Dan showed up at the end. All the puppies run away. He runs in and immediately arrests the guy that was the hostage. And he's like, "You're coming with me." And the guy's like, "No, Sheriff Dan, I own the candy store. Like, I've known you for a long time." He's like, "Oh, okay. All right, you stay here. I'll go arrest them." I loved how just like some of the little slapstick stuff that he does was funny to me. Like when he's
Give me more.
Like when he's playing with the he's like, "I'm going to take all this candy in for evidence," right? When he's talking to the reporter. I liked him. I like when he was really hitting on the reporter too. That was fun. I thought they should have kept doing that, but they kind of shied away from it later on. Because I felt the chemistry, Dan. I felt the sexual tension in this kid's movie between the reporter, who like hates her job and wants to leave this town and become a real reporter. I love that too. She's just like, super puppies? Okay, like I gotta get out of this town. I loved how like fed up with the plot she was. I was like, this is great. We need more of that, of like the human characters just being like, this is so dumb. And then we got Sheriff Dan, who's like, "I'm going to take this candy in as evidence." And he's got the candy lips. He puts on the candy lips. He's like, "I got candy lips on." And the phone rings. He goes, "Sheriff Dan." And he spits it out and he goes, "Sheriff Dan." Like he forgets he's got the candy lips in. Or when his car, they're trying to get a cat out of a tree, right? And they use their superpowers. And they accidentally, the puppies, obviously, duh. The tree hits Sheriff Dan. It crashes onto his roof. And, Sheriff Dan has a bloodhound with him the whole time, which was pretty cute. I like how he had his own dog too.
And then the bloodhound, if I remember correctly, wears a badge too.
Yeah. Oh, it's so adorable. Why is Sheriff Dan running around in his PJs whenever it's like dark out too?
Oh
that was silly.
My god, that was. And the dog's wearing PJs too.
Yeah. And he's got
a cowboy hat.
Yeah. He's got a cowboy hat and a sheriff's badge on. It's so bizarre, but I loved it. And so just know that his vehicle throughout the entire film is falling apart, which is fucking funny. Like when he goes to the farm and his bumper falls off, and he's like, "I gotta investigate this mystery," because the green alien basically he lands right. He stealth cloaks his spaceship on the farm, and then he swaps bodies with a pig. So now he's an evil green pig. So he jumps into a vehicle. This is all good. I loved all of this. He's driving the vehicle. The monkey guy's telling him how to drive. It was so stupid. I loved it. And they have this dumb scene that reminded me of Twin Peaks. You know when the dad is like driving incoherently because he thinks he got away with murder? It's kind of Twin Peaks spoilers. He's like driving all over the highway, and the detectives pull him over, and they're about to look into his trunk to see the dead body, and they're like, "Oh, we got a call." Like that's what it reminded me of. But with a pig and a goofy child sheriff. And I don't know why the sheriff didn't chase after the driving car pig, but so he passes him. He goes to the sheriff, or not the sheriff, the Gramps' farmstead to interview him. But after he's done, because he doesn't believe that there's aliens, because the farmer, I guess, saw aliens, whatever, he's fucking around with the bumper. And this... I don't know why I enjoyed this so much, but he was trying to get the bumper into the vehicle because it had fallen off. And him struggling with that bumper made me laugh a lot. I was like, this is so stupid. God, this is so dumb. You know what it is, Dan? I think I miss slapstick in movies. Like in regular films. It doesn't exist anymore. Like, there's no more Zucker Brothers. There's no more Top Gun or Airplane.
Yeah.
Or not Top Gun. Top Secret, I mean.
Yeah, Top Secret.
those films just don't exist anymore, and I get a craving for them. I want them to come back.
Well, okay, so I think that you were onto something before, because I wanted to get all your Sheriff Dan boner out before I said this.
Yeah,
but let's return to your concept that I think would be a brilliant children's movie for everyone.
Twin Peaks?
No,
Children's?
the reporter, how she's not taking it seriously, but like have all the characters who are adults outside of like the Air Buddies plotline. There's two plot lines going on. That's the Air Buddies plotline that's the thing that moves you throughout the entire thing. But all the things around it, like the adults, they're like, this movie's fucking stupid, or the whole situation is just dumb to them, and they one by one abandon the plot of the movie.
Yeah,
so there's something for us to enjoy, but it's something for the kids to enjoy. I think that'd be fucking hilarious.
I think Sheriff Dan and Grandpa should remain in the kid zone, right? Mm-hmm. Of like, hey, friendly adventure. Everyone else should be like normal human
reaction
beings.
to it.
Yeah, like, what is happening right now? Why are there little puppies with superpowers? That would be great.
Yes, it would be.
I would enjoy that immensely.
I feel like it would give off the same vibe as Mars Attacks,
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah. I kind of got that from this movie. I also got some Men in Black from when the sheriff gets possessed by the alien who's now a pig. They swap bodies, and I love this how now the sheriff is in the pig body. And the alien is in the sheriff's body, so now the sheriff is basically the villain. Yeah. And he does these jerky motions. He's so good
like that one, the farmer from the beginning of Men in Black.
Yes, the roach villain or whatever. Who's like,
sugar,
more sugar,
water,
sugar in my ass, shove it up my butthole. That's what he says, right?
Yeah.
And I loved it. It was so good. And the little fights at the end, I enjoyed. Everyone got to do their own little thing. I don't know why I like that so much. And the production value of like the special effects weren't too bad. They're, like I said, better than a lot of these low budget shit NATO movies. These like D movies. Somehow this was elevated above that with some pretty cool effects. I liked how the aliens were just people in really cool, like nice looking costumes with CGI heads, you know what I mean? For the big alien heads.
Awesome.
That looked great. That looked awesome. And their hands were real. It was a good mix of like real and fake. I thought they did a great job. So yeah, there's some stuff to appreciate in this movie. Just like I said, some of the ideas they had were a little dated for a 2013 film. But I still think overall it was a decent kids movie.
So here are two more things I want to talk about. The first is the other problem. We started with the dog food and the comic book aligning for advertisement.
The product placement, was annoying.
Makes no sense. Second thing was the open face canister of fucking caramel that's just sitting in a candy shop.
Yes.
Here's my third problem.
Blasphemy. Yeah.
Whenever Captain Dogtastic, at the very end of the film, he says something along the lines, and feel free to get this quote, but he says, protecting the rings from Drex is the most important thing that you will ever do in your life. And I'm like, this has never been my problem. I found your ring. I can do whatever the fuck I want. Don't just assume I'm going to help you. I was so upset by that quote. I'm like, really?
Oh, man. That's so great.
And then the other thing.
Funny.
It's not necessarily a problem, but it's a theory.
Okay.
So I have talked ad nauseum about how this movie is basically ruining feminists, like future feminists, by inserting girl power. This also has a disturbing, gateway into fetishism, I think.
Oh,
at the very end, whenever the princess alien comes down,
when Princess Alien Zelda shows up,
and then Bartleby is the one that comes out of the crowd, and I'm like, I see problems. Bartleby wants some alien poontang here.
Bartleby, that was his first boner right there.
Oh yeah,
all
but
downhill.
Exactly. So how many other kids that are watching got a boner from aliens? And they're going to go fucking on Reddit and then, try to find things like that and deeply in art.
This is how puberty works. The first female-like thing that ever gives you a medal, it's almost like imprinting.
Exactly. So, basically, this film just, is now... What was that one fucking show? with the alien with like was she a Cyclops or did she have 3 boobs? I don't remember.
Oh, Futurama.
No. The 3D one, Tripping the Rift, is the sci-fi one.
Oh, I never watched that show.
But it had like that one cyborg lady with the huge tits.
Yes, yeah, they did.
Yeah, so that child is going to go back and watch that and like jerk to it a lot.
I watched that show and look how I turned out. So back up a little bit. We have a small child in a burning building, which was like, damn, shit has escalated since that bank robbery. Oh, I loved how when the little boy and his super dog, you know, the one who grows up to write the comics, who's kind of like looking for the rings with the alien dog guy.
Correct.
Their first call to go do crime, to fight crime together, is a bank robbery. They're like, let's go. And they keep saying they don't have superpowers because they don't have the rings. But of course, they say you don't have to be a superhero to have superpowers. They say it a million billion times. I understand that. I get that. That's a great message. Also, please, little kids, do not go try to stop a bank robbery. You will die. Like, you're going to die.
Maybe we've been missing that as like the primary message, in that like this is trying to cause a massive genocide of children.
I don't understand it, but somehow they were able to thwart these villains like a bank robbery. I don't know. It sounded crazy. I also loved how the bank robbers were like old timey cartoon. You know, like we have our masks and like all in black. I don't know why I love that little stereotype thing so much. It just maybe reminds me when I was a little kid.
And then the
watching
bags of money
cartoons.
have big like dollar signs on them.
I love that shit. But so we have that weird thing, and then we cut to the super buddies are in a fiery building trying to save the little kid, and they're like, oh no. And they had these good special effects of like debris falling, and their path is blocked by fiery like beams of the building collapsing. And you're like, oh my God, they're going to die. And they're thinking like, we can't get out of this even with our powers. What do we do? And of course the super dog shows up, right? And he's like, you kids, aren't using your powers correctly, and you're getting yourself in danger, and you need to be more careful and stuff like that. But then, like I said, the first job they took was a bank robbery. Him and the boys. I'm like, It's a little hypocritical there, super dog. And then what does the super dog do? He goes up to the little girl they're going to save and goes, grab onto my collar, and we're just going to walk out of here. So the entire big problem of the whole room being on fire and the exit being blocked is now not an issue. So
doggy now.
But they didn't stop the issue. It was still there. So then the dog was just like, let's just walk out of this building, even though seconds before the puppies were like, there's no way to escape.
The idea behind Deus Ex Machina, it never actually fixes, it stops the issue, but the new issues arise from it. So like, let's think of like one of the most famous ones, the Bad Seed, where like she gets struck by lightning at the very end. What's going to happen to her family now? Like, how are they going to grieve about that? Like, that's a brand new problem. So Deus Ex Machina never fixes anything.
But that's the problem. There wasn't even a Deus Ex Machina because he didn't stop the fire or the debris in their way.
But so he got them out for God's sakes.
How? He could have used like cold breath or like laser beam eyes. He doesn't do anything.
He's powerless without the rings.
Oh, it's so silly. So then they do a little like montage of them like learning all their powers, which I kind of enjoyed.
And it was weird because like, you know, the theme from Rocky was playing.
Was it?
It's the Eye of the Tiger.
Eye of the Super Buddies. Okay, Dan.
Yes.
I feel like we're going a little long here. I don't know why we're talking about this movie for so long.
We really don't have to.
This is ridiculous.
You want to just go into final thoughts?
Yeah, let's cover some final thoughts.
Okay. You first. You brought them up.
This would have been a perfect film, but I thought that the Zelda princess alien at the end should have been secretly evil, and I would have enjoyed it a lot more because I really felt like they were setting up for that. Because she's like, now give me the rings and everything will be totally cool. And then she gets the rings and you're like, is she evil? What is going on right now? She seems like a bad lady. But yeah, that would have been a pretty cool twist. But then we would have had 10 more minutes on the film and probably didn't need that. Overall, I thought this movie was good for a kid's movie. I don't know if I would let my kids see it because of some of the other unsavory stuff we mentioned.
Yeah, it was watchable. It was not as torturous as I had intended it to be.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that.
Yes.
There was some moments where I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't want to be watching this kid's movie. But it was bearable to a point where it's like, okay, I watched it, whatever.
It's weird. I only checked the timestamps to try to do that silly journal joke, which I gave up on because I was actually enjoying the film to a degree where I wasn't like,
and yet
so
you're still
angry.
going to assign me pain.
Yeah. You ready? So I almost assigned you this Barbie video game movie that was so unwatchable. I tried to test watch it. The actual film was dropping frames. Like, the frame rate in the film was not 60, not even 30. It was like 15 frames a second. It was unwatchable. Like, Air Buddies or Super Buddies was 10 times better.
There are
than that
so many
film.
of them.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 Barbie, 12. 12 Barbie movies. Holy God.
But yeah, the video game one is atrocious. It is the biggest train wreck I've ever seen. So I cannot in good conscience make us watch that film. It is too disrespectful to all human beings. But Dan, I can make you watch.
Uh-oh.
It was between two films, and by your reactions is how I'm going to pick the movie. I'm going to say what they are, and I'm going to stare at you and see what you say. The new Adam Sandler film, Father of the Year.
Ooh. Okay.
As fathers, they're not perfect. As fighters, they're not impressive. But hey, their hearts are in the right place. Oh. This is a movie where I watched the trailer out of spite, and not a single laugh.
Mm-hmm.
In the entire trailer. And usually in a trailer, you want to pick the best parts of the film. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
To really get people to want to go see it. I thought the trailer was unwatchable.
Ooh.
Movie number 2, the Emoji Movie. In Textopolis, where the emojis are expected to display just one emotion. Gene's multiple expressions are a problem. His solution? Become normal. Now, the Emoji Movie, I feel like we've just covered this ground of this film is going to be full of stereotypes.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if we should just recover it and say this movie is really shitty because it's just a bunch of stereotypes and they don't know how to be creative with their writing, instead of just like, because they just put everybody in a box.
Well, here's the deal.
Yeah.
I had seen Father of the Year. Well, I haven't seen it, but I saw the trailer for it, and David Spade is in it.
Yes.
So I like David
His comeback
Spade.
movie. A drunken debate between two recent college grads about whose father would win in a fight leads to mayhem when their dads take the challenge seriously. Wowee!
It has a promising. If that plotline was given to a different group of production, it may work. Like that one movie that I haven't seen that I feel like it has a good, like the Tag movie where they play tag.
Uh-huh.
It was in theaters recently. I don't know.
Oh, that movie looked fucking terrible.
But it had an interesting plot. I don't know.
I guess. I don't know. I was not interested in that movie at all. Oh, man. Holy shit.
Father of the Year. Fuck.
And then the real challenge is going to be which movie we like better, Father of the Year.
That's what I was about to say.
Super Buddies.
Which one hurts more?
Which one will be better?
Shit.
So, Dan,
Yes.
I think we're at the end.
I think we are too.
I hope this was something, guys.
I'm sure it was something.
Please find us on Twitter, oldboys_podcast. We are on Podbean being hosted. If you go to podbean.com and search for Old Boys Podcast, you will find us. We're on iTunes. We're on Stitcher. We're on all the things you find the things at. What else do we got? Like Manstagram or something? I don't fucking know.
Yeah, at Old Boys Podcast at Instagram.
Cool.
And Twitters. Yeah, you know where to find us. Just get there. Just get there.
Hugs and kisses. If your father's dead, you can use your dog as a surrogate. Dan, you have the final word.
Interior. Dark hallway. Day. The camera slowly tracks to an empty room. The title card, Toy Story 4, appears on the screen. As the camera tracks into the room, we hear, and then we open on Sid fucking one of those claw aliens. The claw
its eyes bulging out of its head. The
claw decided who went and who stays. And right now, Sid's about to go pretty hard.
God damn it. All right.